shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
Greetings. I am Kenneth Swan, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Harnett County African American Heritage Center. We're so appreciative that you have taken the time to view and witness the history of the African American experience in Harnett County, North Carolina. It is truly a story that must be told. Even when those are trying to erase our history, our story must be voiced, our story must be recorded, and our story must be heard, for it is our story, which is also America's story. So thank you for taking this time to listen, to view, and to share the reflections of the experience of African Americans in our beloved county. And may the blessings of the Lord continue to be upon you.
Africa, a continent rich in culture, resources, and established civilizations, was wrongly labeled uncivilized by those who sought to exploit it. European and American traders disrupted thriving societies, capturing men, women, and children and forcing them into brutal conditions aboard slave ships. Chained and stripped of dignity, language, and identity, Africans were transported across treacherous waters to an unfamiliar land where they were treated as property rather than people. Upon arrival in the American colonies and later the United States, enslaved Africans faced not only physical bondage, but also the barrier of communication. Individuals from diverse tribes and linguistic backgrounds were forced together, compelled to create new ways of speaking and surviving. Communication became essential, not just for labor, but for resistance, family preservation, and the quiet rebuilding of identity. Forged new languages, pidgins and creoles, melding African tongues with English, and birthed rich cultural practices, call and response songs, spirituals, folk tales, skilled craftwork, and covert networks of kinship. These forms of communication sustained hope, coordinated resistance, and preserved ancestral memory. Over generations, they transformed pain into resilience, shaping music, language, and identity that would profoundly influence American culture and the ongoing struggle for freedom and recognition. The Cape Fear River, lifeline and border. In the decades after 1730, European settlers pushed into its lowlands, establishing farms and plantations that would shape the landscape now known as Harnett County. By the mid-18th century, those plantations relied on enslaved labor. In 1755, there were already 14 enslaved people recorded in the area that would later become Harnett County. The growth that followed was rapid and stark. Census records trace an escalation in human bondage across Cumberland County, from 2,180 enslaved people in 1790 to more than 4,700 by 1820, 5,057 in 1830, 5,392 in 1840, and 7,217 by 1850. In 1855, the year Harnett County was carved from Cumberland, the county's landscape and economy were already built on generations of forced labor. Plantation ledgers and family records, compiled in part by local researcher Malcolm Fowler, put names and numbers to this history. In 1780, records show individuals such as David Smith with 17 enslaved, Colonel McAllister with 14, Elizabeth Smith with 13, and others holding double-digit numbers. By 1790, larger holdings appear. Farquhar Campbell with 50, David Smith with 42, the Williams Plantation with 72, and the Northingtons with 36. By 1860, the concentration of enslaved people was even greater on certain estates. J.C. Williams held 102, John Elliott and A.S. McNeil each recorded 80, Nat Jones 56. Parson McKay is identified as the largest slaveholder in the region that year, with the Atkins, Hodge, McKay, McLean, McNeil, Murchison, and Williams families among the largest owners. This was the economic and social reality on the Cape Fear's banks. communities and families built on the labor, lives, and resistance of enslaved African Americans, people too often reduced in the records to numbers and property. The legal end of chattel slavery in the United States came on December 18, 1865, when the 13th Amendment was adopted. Its language echoed earlier ordinances, but its passage represented a national, if incomplete, break with the system that had defined the Cape Fear River plantations for more than a century. This chapter has only begun to name the people and places of Harnett County's early history. What follows will seek the stories behind the numbers, the lives, labor, and legacies that shaped this land.
I'm Edwin Patterson. I moved this Daniel Cameron house here in 2003. And so it's been here a little over 20 years. It was located at Cameron Hill, North Carolina, originally known as Pleasant Hill. It was on a 50-acre tract of land granted to Daniel Cameron in 1761. We found evidence of that at Raleigh at the archives. Cumberland County did not have the information on this land grant. So that we lucked out on that regard. Daniel's oldest son, Alan, was born 2 years earlier in 1759, and I think the house dates to their earliest ownership of this land. Can't prove that, we'll never know for sure, but I'm calling it 1761 for now until we learn anything different. Alan, his son, and Daniel, the builder here, were both said to be members in the Revolutionary War, members from North Carolina militia. Let me go open the back door. This four-head loom is from Harnett County. It was owned by the Harrington family near Mount Pisgah Church. They wanted me to have it, and I felt like it was a fine relic to put here in the building. This was a fancy one-room cabin, paneled. And most of the house is a reproduction because it was rotting and falling down when I found it. A man named Wayne Mangum that was born here in 1944 owned it. The staircase that Desi can show you is original to the house. It's a very tight corner stair that winds its way upstairs, and there is an upstairs fireplace, and there's lots of sleeping room up there. So that was a sleeping hall for this one-room cabin. The cabin's about 18.5 by 24.5 feet. It was originally built with one room. It was changed in a few years to 2 rooms, and that necessitated blocking both the front and back door that were centered, but we got that back like it was. Real proud of this cabin. I think it's the oldest building I have on site here.
What? Huh? Oh, my name is Charity McAllister. I was here a long time before the Yankees come here. I was about grown when they come through. I ain't all able to cook my little something to eat, and now I ain't able to work out. No, sir, not able to work. Done and work my time out. See, I was a grown gal when the Yankees come through. I was about 18 years old. Now, I love to give you the truth, so I knows I was that old. I was a grown gal. My father was named Robert Blaylock. He belonged to the Blaylocks of Harnett County. My mother was Annie McAllister, and she belonged to Jeanette McAllister in Harnett County. I belong to John Green at Lillington in Harnett County. See, my mother first belonged to John Green, but she got in the family way by a white man, and John Green sold her to a speculator named Bill Avery O'Reilly. Speculator. They sold my brother. Psh, he was white as you is. Oh, when the surrender came, mother went back to Miss Jeanette McAllister in Harnett County. See, that's how they got back there. Now, I wants to tell you the truth, and that's what I'm going to do. I tell you, I was whooped during slavery time. They whooped us with horse half whoops. They put a stick under our legs and tied our hands to the stick, and we couldn't do nothing but turn and twist. They'd sure work on your back end. Every time you turn, they'd hit it. Now, I've been whooped that way and scarred up. Ooh. Well, we slept on mattress made out of toe sacks. Our clothes was pole, one-piece dress made of carpet stuff part of the time. One pair of shoes a year after Christmas. They give them to us on January the 1st. Now, no shoes till after Christmas. They can give us in the holidays except Christmas in Harnett County. That was against the rules. No prayer, no nothing on the plantation in our house. They didn't allow us to go to the white folks' church. They didn't allow us slaves to hunt, so we didn't have any game. And they didn't allow us any patches. Oh, no, sirree, we ain't had no money. Now, the slaves slept a lot on pallets during slavery. Pallet was a quilt, a toe carpet spread on the floor. We used a cotton pillow sometime. There's about 50 slaves on the plantation. We ain't had no overseer on Master's plantation, and no books or schools or any kind for niggas. I can't read or write. No, sir. I wish I could read and write. Well, I split rails and worked in the Cape Fear River low ground. We fenced the field with rails split from trees, from pine trees. They was 11 foot long. 11 foot long. Oh, yes, sir. I see the paddle rollers. I see plenty of them scoundrels. No, the Ku Klux. Oh, they was real scoundrels. And I just can't tell you all the mean things they done right after the war. Reuben Matthews, slave George Matthews, he killed 2 Ku Klux. They gonna double teamed him and shot him. And he cut him with the axe. And they did. I was married right after the war. The second year after the war, I married Richard Rogers, but I kept the name of McAllister right on. My husband, he'd been dead a good long time, Lord. I don't know how long. I've been married one time, and that was one time too much. I have 2 sons, one named Clarence and one named John. 2 daughters, one in Newport News and one in Washington, D.C. One named Lovey, and one named Lula.
In North Carolina, the vast longleaf pine forests, stretching nearly 300 miles long and 100 miles wide, became central to the state's economy. The region emerged as a world leader in naval stores production, particularly tar, pitch, and turpentine, materials essential for sealing ships and preserving ropes. South of the Cape Fear River, the pine forests produced some of the finest grade tar in the world. By the mid-1800s, innovations such as the copper still improved the distillation process, but the labor itself remained physically demanding and grueling. All that was required was a tree, an axe, a bucket, and a strong back. And it was the backs of enslaved Africans, and later freedmen, that sustained this industry. Their labor fueled ships that crossed oceans, built economies, and strengthened a young nation. Yet behind the prosperity stood generations of African descendants whose faith, endurance, and determination transformed suffering into legacy. Harnett County's foundation is not only one of geography and commerce. It is a testament to a people who survived displacement, bondage, and injustice, and still built communities rooted in strength and hope. After the Civil War, a powerful transformation unfolded across Harnett County, North Carolina. For newly freed African Americans, freedom was more than the end of bondage. It was the beginning of self-determination, spiritual renewal, and community building. With faith as their foundation, formerly enslaved families began organizing their own congregations. Across towns and rural settlements, churches rose from the ground, built with borrowed tools, donated lumber, and unwavering belief. Somerville Presbyterian Church records from the mid-1800s show that several enslaved people were baptized and became members. Among them were my third great-grandfather, Gabriel McNeil, says Dessie Campbell, and Gabriel's sister Letty, their cousins Sophia, Violet, and Eliza, were baptized October 4, 1848, and listed as servants of Mary McLean Pierce, Peter McLean, John B. Patterson, Sarah McNeil, and Dr. M. McLeod. The Atkins were also in this files, who later founded Lillington Presbyterian Church in Shawtown with support from Somerville. Other families included on these rolls were the Rays, McNeil, McAllister, and McCoy. The church's slave gallery, the balcony where enslaved worshipers were required to sit still, exists today, a tangible reminder of the unequal but real spiritual ties that bound black congregants to white congregations. These entries are more than names on a page. Baptismal and membership records, pew lists, and session minutes were among the few written sources that documented enslaved and free black lives. For many families, such records provide rare, traceable links across generations, showing relationships to particular households, churches, and communities. While the presence of African Americans in predominantly white churches reflected the constrained and segregated conditions of the era, it also demonstrates how black individuals and families sought spiritual life, community, and continuity within and beyond those limits. Church records like Somerville's thus serve both as evidence of injustice and as invaluable genealogical and historical resources. From a little wooden structure hidden in the woods to a strong brick sanctuary standing in testimony, the story of Oak Grove AM Zion Church is more than timber and brick. It is proof that God works in the hearts of men, that His grace has brought us thus far, and His grace will surely lead us home. In 1867, just 2 years after the Civil War ended, Christian leaders Mr. Sherd Smith and Mr. Daniel McNeil organized Oak Grove Church along the banks of the Cape Fear River. The river, once a silent witness to suffering and survival, now stood beside a people claiming spiritual freedom. The church served its purpose in that season, not just as a place of worship, but as a declaration of independence, dignity, and divine hope. But Oak Grove was not alone in its journey. The roots of Mount Pisgah Harnett stretch even further back, to the late 1850s. Before freedom was declared, before emancipation was law, enslaved men and women worshiped at Prospect Missionary Baptist Church, founded in 1846 and later aligned with the Free Will Baptist tradition in 1853. They sat beside their white owners. They listened. They endured. Yet when they could, they would steal away. Steal away to pray, steal away to worship freely, steal away to speak to God without chains. Those secret meetings, whispered prayers beneath trees and in cabins, formed the spiritual foundation of Mount Pisgah, whose history traces back to 1860, even before slavery officially ended. For a time, Mr. Neil McLeod, a member of Prospect Church, allowed black worshipers to use an old shanty for services. But when that building was reclaimed as a mule shed, worship ceased there. Still, faith did not. Services moved to the log cabin home of Mr. William Holliday near Bob's Spring. The people gathered. They sang. They prayed. In 1867, 1 acre of land was given to Mr. Jack McCoy by his former enslaver, Mr. William Beland McCoy, for the purpose of building a church, from bondage to ownership, from exclusion to establishment. After the Civil War, many black families were asked to leave white churches and worship on their own. What may have been intended as rejection became redirection. It marked one of the first official steps toward the independent establishment of Mount Pisgah Harnett. Faith was no longer borrowed space. It was their own. Around 1867, another cornerstone of faith was laid. Lillington Grove Free Will Baptist Church, one of the first black churches founded in Harnett County after the Civil War. The church joined the Cape Fear Original Free Will Baptist Conference, standing as a symbol of organized black religious leadership in the region. Though early records were destroyed by fire, the deed of 1912 records trustees, Mr. Ed Cofield, Mr. Jerry McCoy, Mr. Mac Harrington. But the true record lives in surnames still present today: McKay, McLean, Murchison, McNeil, Bailey. The first meetings were held in homes. Sacred spaces turned sanctuaries. When those homes could no longer contain the spirit, services moved outside beneath brush arbors, simple wooden frames covered with tree branches. No stained glass, no pews, no organ, just faith.
Our final chapter in this sacred journey leads us to a place born of perseverance, prayer, and purpose: Davis Chapel. Its story begins in 1857, long before freedom was fully realized. In the woodlands of Harnett County, formerly enslaved men and women gathered beneath open skies in a brush arbor known as Long Ridge Church. There, away from the oversight of former slave masters, they claimed a space where they could worship God freely and fully. No walls, no steeple, only faith. For nearly 10 years, these freed people met in that bush harbor. They prayed earnestly, they worshiped fervently, they banded together in unity and hope. Their voices rose through the trees, declaring that freedom was not only physical, it was spiritual. Their dedication did not go unnoticed. Moved by their perseverance, former slave master Mr. Josie Williams granted them 1 acre of land within the woodlands of his estate, about a quarter mile from the present location. On that sacred ground, they built more than a church. They built a school. The Long Ridge School became a center of learning and empowerment. Its first known teacher was Mr. Samuel Williams, just 13 years old, a former slave, teaching newly freed children how to read, write, and dream. In that quiet forest setting, faith and education walked hand in hand. On March 3, 1896, under the leadership of Mr. Samuel Williams, the trustees of Long Ridge Church sought new ground for their growing congregation. They were granted 1 acre of land by Mr. and Mrs. J.M. and Caro H. Davis, descendants of Josie Williams. Oak Grove, Mount Pisgah, Lillington Grove, Davis Chapel. 4 churches, 4 journeys, 1 unbreakable faith. Together, they tell the story of a people who turned brush arbors into sanctuaries, cabins into classrooms, and struggle into strength. They are monuments not only of brick and wood, but of courage, community, and Christ. And their message still echoes today. We have come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord.
Parker Jackson Covington Sr. was born on March 3, 1837. His life would span nearly 9 decades, ending on October 12, 1935, a lifetime that witnessed profound change in America. He first married Hagar McNeil, born around 1850, the daughter of Frank and McNeil. From their union, 2 children were born, Jim Covington and Rudolph Covington. After Hagar's passing, Parker married again, this time to Agnes Elizabeth Stewart. Born in February of 1866, she was the daughter of Harry Stewart and Martha Clements. Together, Parker and Agnes built a large and enduring family, welcoming 11 children. Their children included Neggie Lena Covington, born September 4, 1893, Parker J. Covington, born November 15, 1895, Hector Covington, born March 1896, Martha A. Covington, born September 4, 1897, Hagar Jane Covington, born January 9, 1899, Charlie Covington, born September 29, 1900, Calvin Winston Covington, born in 1901, Caroline O. Covington, born in 1902, Bessie Covington, born February 18, 1905, Agnes Eliza Covington, born in 1907, Corina Covington, born June 18, 1910. Through marriages, children, and generations that followed, the Covington name continued to grow. From the mid-1800s into the late 20th century, Parker Covington's legacy carried forward through sons and daughters who built families of their own. What began with one man born in 1837 became a family story stretching across generations, a testament to endurance, heritage, and the power of family. On March 27, 1881, Lula Savannah Clark was born into the family of John A. Clark and Vina Brown. Her life would stretch across 83 remarkable years, ending on February 22, 1964. She grew up in a time of rebuilding and change, a generation shaped by resilience and faith. Lula married Reverend Evander Vaughn Walker, born May 22, 1878. He was the son of William Bright Walker and Betsy Colvin Walker Peppers. Together, Lula and Evander built not only a home, but a legacy. From their union, 12 children were born. Their family included Minnie Bright Walker, born November 3, 1900, Betty E. Walker, born in 1905, Reverend John Alvin Walker, born in 1907, Lola Nursefield Walker, born November 17, 1908, King David Walker, born January 28, 1909, Paul Herman Walker, born September 3, 1910, Vester Bright Walker, born June 22, 1912, Vashti Lee Walker, born March 4, 1914, Lula Esther Walker, born August 28, 1916, Corina Katara Walker, born September 18, 1918, an infant son, born May 2, 1921, Evander Archibald Walker, born September 6, 1923. Through joy and hardship, faith and family remained at the center of Lula's life. Her children would go on to marry, raise families, and extend her legacy well into the late 20th and early 21st centuries. From one woman born in 1881 came generations, ministers, mothers, fathers, and community builders. Lula Savannah Clark Walker's story is more than dates on a page. It is a testament to strength, devotion, and the enduring power of family. Lula and Evander are founders of Linden Chapel Church. Frank R. Clark was born on December 17, 1884. He entered a world still finding its footing in a new century, a world that would change dramatically over the course of his 66 years. He was the son of Francis McNeil Smith Clark and Richard Smith, rooted in families whose strength and faith carried them through difficult times. Frank married Georgiana Smith, born June 7, 1889, the daughter of Isaiah Smith and Betty Stewart. Together, they built a life grounded in family and perseverance. From their union, 9 children were born. Their children included Frank Chalmers Clark, born February 24, 1909, George Andrew Clark, born January 3, 1911, James Monroe Clark, born July 3, 1914, Arthur Henderson Clark, born January 16, 1916, Lee Etta Clark, born January 16, 1916, Katie Bell Clark, born January 10th, 1918. Anna Edna Clark, born February 15th, 1920. Willie Coleman Clark, born July 17th, 1925. William McNary Clark, born January 29th, 1927. Through marriages and generations that followed, the Clark name extended into the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Hector Bailey was born on November 12, 1847, the same year as Ellen J. Covington, born September 1st, 1847. Two lives beginning in the same year, destined to be joined in marriage. Hector lived until October 6, 1926. Ellen followed on March 12, 1935. Together, they witnessed the rise of a new century and the changing landscape of America. From their union, 6 children were born, 6 branches extending 2 strong family lines. Elizabeth Lizzie Bailey, born in 1869. Joseph Thomas Bailey, born November 5, 1871. Desi Bailey, born May 5, 1874. Katie Bailey, born March 2, 1877. Albert James Bailey, born September 29, 1881. Walter Raleigh Bailey, born December 23, 1888. Through marriages and generations that followed, the Bailey name intertwined with the Covington, Clark, and Atkins families, strengthening bonds that would endure well into the 20th century.
Were able to find. My mother was of course a black woman, and she worked on a farm too, because she had a farm, and her transportation was a buggy and a horse, and she was a midwife. She's an A1 midwife, not only for blacks, but they would be looking for her for whites too, because there were some former whites here that could remember that grandma gave birth to them. So during that time, no doctors in the area, so whites were looking for my grandma just like they were looking for a doctor somewhere, because there were no doctors, you see. And of course, she had to spend a few days with them until the mother was up and able to kind of do for herself. Also, during those years, we always talked about it a lot among us. And of course, with my mama too, when she was living, my cousins would talk to her about her father. Her father was a Dan. Oh gee, I wish I had that death certificate. I have his death certificate here somewhere. Daniel Atkins, being the father of my sisters and brothers. And Tom Atkins, great-grandfather, happened to be one of the children. But there were 7 children that my grandmother had that was fathered by a white man that was a farmer that never married. And of course, during those years, and I often wondered if that is how my grandma got her horse and buggy, her transportation. I wondered too if that is how she ended up with 60 acres of land and was able, as a slave, and was able to do a lot better than some of those that had father and mother in the home. I often wondered about, and it goes back to me. I wish that we could have talked to her, but see, Grandma was a bossy woman. Now she was an independent one. Now she didn't play no games with you. And when she'd go to those white people's house, and them youngers didn't do right, she let the mama know, I'm gonna tear that behind her, because I'm not gonna stay here looking after you, and then your youngin giving me headache and problems. So they learned that that's what they had to do. That is if Grandma stayed there, because Grandma had too much work to do. She had too many babies to deliver. she'd go to one house, and believe it or not, sometime somebody would be looking for her to come to their house. See, at that time, people had children almost like a cat and chicken. It looked bitty kittens, you know. It was every year a baby. Every year it was a baby, you know. And there were so many large families, see. But her mother was living at that time. Her mother was living at the time that my grandma grew up, when she was having those children. She was having my mama and Tom's grandmama and all the rest of them, you know. So that kind of made us kind of wonder, is that why grandma was so bossy? Because grandma was, you about scared of grandma now. And I often wondered about that with grandma. That was on my Atkins.
James Russell Bailey was born on June 6th, 1890. He is the son of Ned Bailey and Adeline Williams. A family rooted in strength and perseverance. In a time marked by change and challenge, James would become the foundation of a large and enduring household. He married Ardella McCoy, born May 8, 1897, the daughter of Isaac Williams and Flora McCoy. Together, they built a life centered on faith, hard work, and family. From their union, 15 children were born. Their children included James Edward Bailey, born November 24, 1912. Albert Washington Bailey, born September 9, 1916. Lizzie J. Bailey, born May 13, 1916. George Graham Bailey, born November 24, 1917. Beatrice Bailey, born March 30, 1919. Isaac Bailey, born August 6, 1921. Jesse Bailey, born in 1921. Melvin Lee Bailey, born January 6, 1923. Reverend William Vance Bailey, born October 28, 1927. Vera Bailey, born January 17, 1927. Colden Bailey, born April 12, 1929. Beulah Bailey, born August 1, 1930. Franks Bailey, born March 14, 1934. Henry Louis Bailey, born in 1938, and Annie Ruth Bailey. Through the decades, from the early 1900s through wars, economic hardship, and social change, the Bailey family continued to grow. Children became parents. Parents became grandparents. A single household expanded into generations. James Russell Bailey passed away in 1955. Ardella preceded him in death on August 29, 1949. But their legacy did not end there. It lives on in 15 branches of a family tree, and in the countless lives shaped by their love, guidance, and strength. Jack Murchison was born about 1820 in Cumberland County, North Carolina, the son of Scylla Murchison and brother to Isaac and Jane. Enslaved on the Murchison plantation in Manchester, he served in the household at Holly Hill, where he was trained in genteel speech and the protocols of Southern manor life. Kenneth Mackenzie Murchison's 1834 will shows Jack was passed down within the family, remaining in bondage until the end of the Civil War. Freed in 1865, Jack set about building a new life with determination and independence. He purchased a large tract of land on the Lee-Harnett County line near what is now Olivia, cleared it with an ox, and established a farm. He married Anna Monroe, and together they raised a large family of 13 children, including Martha Jane, Scylla and her twin, Rachel, Anna Jane, George, Henry, John, Nett Edward, Mary Margaret, Evander, Jenny Sewell, Sarah, and John D. Murchison. Committed to faith and community, Jack financed and built his own church, first called Jack's Chapel, and later known as Murchison's Chapel. He was instrumental in founding Bethel AME Zion Church, and his son Evander later founded Pilgrim's Rest Holiness Church. Around his homestead, he helped create a small African-American community known as Murchison Town in Olivia, an enduring legacy of resilience, leadership, and communal care that grew from his life's work. He died in 1922 in Harnett County, North Carolina. Mac Murchison was born June 1st, 1885, and he died May 16th, 1935. He is the son of Reverend McLean Murchison and Pocahontas Massey. He married Nora Ochiltree. McDuffie Ragland was born October 10th, 1886, and he died June 24th, 1962. He married Holly Esther Cutts. He is the son of George Ragland and Belle Atkins. Ed Spears was born in 1832, and he died in 1896. She married Celia McCoy. Willie McLeod was born August 1st, 1869, and he died April 12th, 1932. He married Rosella Ray. He is the son of Isaac McLeod and Hasty McKay. Willie Washington Johnson was born May 21st, 1885, and he died August 30th, 1962. He married Bessie Sanders. He is the son of Rufus Johnson and Clander McCoy. Willie Swan was born April 26, 1884, and he died October 20th, 1957. He married Pearl McLean. He is the son of Sancho and Lucy Swan. Joseph Bright Walker was born April 10, 1918, and he died October 2, 2013. He married Louise Richardson. He is the son of Ernest Walker and Florence Chance. Charlie Frederick McLean was born August 1, 1874, and he died September 26, 1949. He married Caroline Nursefield Clark. He is the son of John McLean and Letty McNeil. Rollins Standard Moore was born April 15, 1906, and he died July 16, 1977. He married Marcella McLean. He is the son of Neil Archie Moore and Bessie Campbell. Anthony Walter Moore was born in 1834, and he died August 22, 1932. He married Mary Ann Newton. He later married Julia McNeil Ross. After the Civil War, education became more than learning for African American families in Harnett County. It was essential to overcoming poverty and oppression. From small church rooms to purpose-built schoolhouses, local communities fought to give their children a chance at a better future. In the years after the war, newly formed churches and communities began opening schools. Often these classrooms were modest, a single room in a church or a simple shanty, but they were vital centers of hope and learning. In the 1910s, Booker T. Washington and his colleagues at the Tuskegee Institute conceived a powerful idea: partner public resources with private philanthropy to improve rural black schooling across the South. Philanthropist Julius Rosenwald, president of Sears, Roebuck and Company, provided matching grants that helped communities build standardized, modern school buildings. By the early 1930s, the Rosenwald Fund had replaced thousands of old shanties with new schoolhouses, and North Carolina built more of them than any other state. Harnett County alone would come to host 27 Rosenwald schools. Atkins Road, Angier, Averasboro, Beaver Dam, Bethlehem, Cedar Grove, Chalybite Springs, Coates, Creeksville, Duke, Irwin, Johnsonville, Killingsford, Lillington No. 1, 2, and 3, Maple Grove, McLean Chapel, Mount Pisgah, Murchison, Norrington, Paradise, Ridgeway, Sand Hills, Seminole, Smith Grove, Stewart's Creek, Somerville, Yarborough, the Harnett County Training School, which later became Harnett High School, and the Shawtown High School. Harnett County Training School, the county's central institution for secondary education, eventually became Harnett High School. In 1971, alumni Charles L. Herring and Parham McNeil founded the National Harnett High School Alumni Association, to preserve the school's heritage and support future generations through scholarships. The association's work continues under leaders who carry forward a legacy of community and education. Shawtown School provides a vivid example of community initiative. Around 1915, a two-room school was built about 3/10 of a mile west of the present site on land purchased by local citizens when the state provided little support. Residents paid or supplemented teachers' salaries and entrusted Mr. H. Suggs as the first principal, who also taught classes himself. Under the leadership of Reverend C. W. McNeil in the 1920s, Shawtown expanded. Additional classrooms were added in about 1924, and the school extended through 8th grade. Students who completed these grades and summer training could earn teaching certificates, an important path for local educators. Over the decades, Shawtown School evolved with the county's changing needs. In 1968, it transitioned from a union high school to an elementary school serving grades K-6. In 1978, it became a primary school for grades K-3. Today, it serves those grades and provides special classes for students with disabilities. Transition. Rooted in Scripture, the belief that after life there is death, and after death there is judgment, has long shaped the spiritual lens through which many African American communities understand the journey from earth to eternity. African American funeral traditions are deeply woven with threads of resilience, remembrance, and reverence. These customs draw from a rich blending of West African ancestral practices, enduring Christian faith, and the collective strength of a people who, even in the face of oppression, found ways to honor their loved ones with dignity. During slavery, when open worship was often forbidden, enslaved Africans gathered in secret hush harbor ceremonies, sacred spaces hidden deep in the woods. There they prayed, sang spirituals, and laid their loved ones to rest with as much honor as their circumstances would allow. Even in bondage, they affirmed humanity, identity, and hope beyond the grave. As time progressed, these sacred practices evolved into what we now know as homegoing services, celebrations of life that honor not just the passing, but the legacy of the individual. These services are marked by powerful eulogies, heartfelt songs, and a spirit of triumph, reflecting the belief that the departed has gone home to be with the Lord. It is both a time of mourning and a moment of rejoicing, a uniquely beautiful balance that defines African American funeral culture. Following the Civil War, Black-owned funeral homes emerged as pillars within the community. In an era when segregation denied African Americans basic dignity, these establishments became sanctuaries of respect and care. Funeral directors were not only service providers, but trusted leaders, historians, and caretakers of community memory. They ensured that, even in death, African Americans were treated with honor, grace, and humanity. Here in Harnett County, North Carolina, this legacy lives on through the sacred ground of historic African American cemeteries that date back to the mid-1800s. Places such as Davis Chapel AME Zion Church, formerly known as Long Ridge and rooted on the historic Williams Plantation, stand as powerful testaments to faith, endurance, and community. The Mount Pisgah Church Cemetery in Irwin. The Slave Cemetery at Barbecue Church. Riverside Cemetery, the Bolden Cemetery, and many others scattered throughout the county. These burial grounds are more than final resting places. They are living archives, holding the stories of ancestors who endured, believed, and built legacies that still speak today. Each headstone, whether marked or unmarked, tells a story of struggle, perseverance, love, and faith. These cemeteries remind us that while death is certain, so too is the enduring power of memory. In honoring those who came before us, we not only preserve history, we affirm identity, strengthen community, and ensure that their lives, their names, and their journeys are never forgotten. The Harnett County African American Heritage Center has proudly erected 2 African American heritage monuments to honor the enslaved men and women laid to rest in unmarked graves across our county. These powerful memorials stand as heartfelt tributes to lives too often forgotten, giving voice to stories of resilience, strength, and dignity. They remind us that the foundations of Harnett County were built on the labor, skill, and spirit of the African American community. One monument is located at the Coates Museum in Coates, North Carolina, and the other at Wilkins Cemetery in Dunn, North Carolina, places where memory and remembrance can be shared by all. Each monument invites reflection, gratitude, and a deeper understanding of our shared history.
Down in Harnett County, where the longleaf pines sway, stories live in the soil, never fading away. From the fields where the old roads run, walk the names of our elders. In the Carolina sun, James Turner McLean, your strength still stands. Joe and Jenny McLean built hope with their hands. Offie Elliott sank a swan, voices brave and true. Rev Jack Murchison, we remember you. Oh, we rise from the roots, from the tears and the ground, from the prayers and the songs where our freedom was found. Through the years, through the pain, still our spirits stay strong. Harnett County, your story lives on in this song. Davis Chapel ringing since 1857. Faith on the Williams land, reaching up to heaven. From Shoretown roads to the classrooms bright, Rosenwald dreams gave our children light. Harnett County Training School trained minds to lead the way. 25 more schools where futures could stay. Through every lesson, through every door, they carry the hope of so many before. We rise from the roots, from the tears and the ground, from the prayers and the songs where our freedom was found. Through the years, through the pain, still our spirits stay strong. Harnett County, your story lives on in this song. Centurion Beatrice Bailey Hill, standing tall in time. W.M. Porter, Barbara McCoy in the climb. Tony Spears and the voices that answered the call, lifting the people, uplifting us all. Through the cemeteries where the quiet stones speak, over 200 years of the strong and the meek. Every name a story, every life a flame. We honor their journey, we carry their name. Yes, we rise from the roots, from the past we proclaim, from the struggle and grace that carried our name. We salute you and voices in the wind, through the fields where you once toiled in pain. Your tears have watered seeds of hope. Your struggle was not in vain. Chains could not silence the fire in your soul. Through storms and shadows, your story is told. We will remember you. Through every trial you pushed on through. With every heartbeat, every breath, we carry your love. Even in death, your legacy shines like the morning.
We hope you enjoyed this special presentation celebrating the rich African-American history of Harnett County. For more stories, archives, and educational resources from across the region, please visit our website at www.africanamericanexperience.org. If you'd like to support our work, you can make a donation by scanning the QR code. This documentary will be available on YouTube in the coming days. Please like, share, and subscribe to help us preserve and amplify these important voices and histories.
No whip could break what the Spirit